Jacoby, we are Jalen Jacoby. What is it that we
For
do?
10 years and running, we get the people what they want.
Jalen, what hip-hop legend is joining us in just a few minutes on this
Gentleman
program?
has given us historic bars, verses, and hooks. AZ, the legend, the icon, will be here in the B block.
But we start with last night's game. It was the Chargers who jumped out early with 3 touchdowns in the first half, and Justin Herbert looked like that dude. What do you think about the Chargers win over the Raiders?
Quiet as kept, the Chargers got weapons. When you have Justin Herbert, who's already has the makings of what looks like is going to be a great career, a franchise quarterback, don't sleep. They got Mike Williams on the outside. They got Keenan Allen on the outside. But they got a secret weapon in the backfield that isn't so much of a secret anymore. The second in the NFL in running back fantasy points, Austin Eckler. He be balling, Jacoby. You can give it to him out of the backfield. He could get one rushing. You definitely can throw it to him out of the backfield. He's been like a Swiss Army knife for them. And their offense looked really good moving the football against the Raiders.
When you talk about the best teams in the AFC, everyone brings up the Chiefs and everyone brings up the Bills, but the Chargers have definitely put themselves in that conversation. And Jalen, I have to tell you something. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you, but be careful because it is time for the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
And now, the Don't Get Fired topic of the day.
Urban Meyer had a weekend.
Irby.
He had a weekend that he had to apologize for. Let's just start by listening to the apology.
I just apologize to the team and staff and for being a distraction, just stupid. And so I explained everything that happened and owned it, and just stupid. Should not have myself in that kind of position.
Urban, did you fly back with the team, or did you stay in?
No, I stayed to see the grandkids, and we all went to dinner that night at a restaurant, and then there's a big group next to our restaurant, and they wanted me to come over and take pictures, and I did. And they were trying to pull me out on a dance floor, screwing around, and I should have left.
Okay, so we've all seen the video. We know what he's apologizing for, but he was at Urban Meyer's Pint House, and they wanted to drag him on the dance floor, and he shouldn't have put himself in that position. Jalen, what do you think about Irby's weekend?
I think a few things. First and foremost, we're going to make light of it because nothing illegal happened, and it seems like nothing happened against either human being's will. Now, what happens between him and his wife, that's none of our business. However, since we are in the entertainment business, I have to say this, Jacoby. If this was a woman, they would call him a cougar. Since it's Urban Meyer, what are they going to call him?
Jaguar. Jaguar. First of all, if you're going to apologize, you can't say I shouldn't have put myself in that position. You got to choose your words better. And then he tried to be the victim. Jalen, they tried to drag him on the dance floor, and they wanted to take pictures with him. Urban.
See, here's a few things. Like, first off, you always got to pay attention to the optics, right? He's coaching a team in Florida. He tells that team and probably his staff that he's going to Ohio to spend time with the grandkids, and he ends up spending time with somebody else's grandkids out of the spot that's named after him. You know what I'm saying? That's where the optics aren't the best, and the Jaguars haven't won a game this year. And so, how many years has he been coaching in the NFL?
0 years.
See, he's not a seasoned vet by any means. And so when you make this hire and you take Trevor Lawrence #1, you think nothing else except this is going to be the person that guides him to greatness. And so the decision-making by Urban Meyer since he's taken the job has been questionable. Whether it's people he put on his staff, how he used people that he drafted. Etienne ultimately ended up getting injured for this year. And so this is just not a good look professionally as their leader, as their head coach, as somebody they brought in to pay top dollar to help turn around the Jaguars franchise.
And if you remember, they lost a very close Thursday night game to the Bengals, and here is what Urban had to say after that game to give you an idea of his mindset heading into the weekend.
That's devastating, heartbreaking. You know, these guys, usually I'm not wrong about stuff like that, I just see a good team in there. I see good guys. I see good hearts. I see guys at work. And this team's going to win some games. We're getting better each week. Just sickening that you didn't win that thing. That's a heartbroken locker room, so we got to get them back. There are good people in that locker room.
He was heartbroken, Jalen. He was heartbroken after the Thursday night loss. Now, he did mention that he spoke to Shad Khan, the owner of the team. He mentioned that he spoke to the team. He spoke to the front office. What do you think that he had to say to his wife after this video went viral?
You know who I blame? I blame Ohio. And it has a lot to do with the fact I'm from Michigan. Number one, ain't nobody in Urban Meyer's own spot supposed to be taking pictures of him doing things that he shouldn't be doing and posting them on the internet. That person who got that $150, that person should be arrested immediately. You know what I'm saying? Number one. Number two, this is why I blame Ohio. No adult entertainment spots open? Like, you can't be hanging out at your spot with your name on it. But here's the other thing. He really didn't want her to do it. If you look closer at the picture, he kind of had his arm in the way. But you can't hold back a thoroughbred. You can't just push her out of the way. You know what I mean? Because she's probably been in that spot with him before. So he didn't want to, like, turn her off or hold back a thoroughbred. So he just let her kind of stay there, fam.
This is the don't get fired topic of the day, and you are dancing dangerously close to that about to get us fired content. So we're going to move on and change this show into the Cardinals News Network. We adopted the Cardinals last year as our team, and they started out great, and so did Kyler Murray, and he was in the MVP conversation. Kyler Murray got injured about halfway through the year, and he didn't seem himself the second half last year. Well, he seems himself this year, and the Cardinals are now undefeated, and Kyler Murray is now the favorite to win the MVP. What do you think about Kyler's year thus far?
No surprises for supporters of Jalen Jacoby. That's why we adopted the Cardinals, because while people were worried about Kyler Murray's hand size and or his height, they were worried about if he would probably be better at baseball than football, which he probably might be. He's such a great athlete. Shout out to my guy, Cliff Kingsbury. Took a lot of heat during the draft last year when he was sitting at his palatial pad and they were picking players and people was hating on the Cardinals. They added D-Hop, fleeced the Texans to get him. And now all of a sudden, Kyler Murray is making magic with this squad. And my favorite thing about smaller guys is when they're the toughest, meanest guys around. That was like Isaiah Thomas with the bad boys. That's how I feel about Kyler Murray. And I've been telling you this since he got into the league. That's why I nicknamed him Joe Pesci. Where's the casino picture? I want to see him as a mob figure, because when you don't do what Kyler Murray wants you to do, you might get whacked.
Well, we always talk about the teams in the NFC, and when we saw the Rams beat the Bucs, we all anointed them. We put them in the Super Bowl already, and then the Cardinals came out and showed out and beat the Rams in Los Angeles. Huge win for them. We'll continue to follow the Cardinals as the season progresses and Kyler Murray's MVP candidacy becomes more and more favorite in the bookmakers in Las Vegas. But right now, we have to discuss something that happened between the Broncos and the Ravens. And the Ravens wanted 100 yards rushing, so at the very end of the game, they made sure to get that. And here
it was kind of bull, but I expected it from them. You know, I've 37 years in pro ball. I've never seen anything like that. So, but it was to be expected, and we expected it.
Why did you expect it from them?
Because I just know how they operate. You know, that's just their, mode of operation there. Player safety is secondary.
some strong words. What do you think, Jalen?
Victor, victory. Oh, wait, y'all got smacked. and you're whining about it. You can't act like you've been around the league for decades and you haven't seen people chase stats or chase records. That happens every week. As a matter of fact, it's a part of people's contracts. The Ravens pride themselves on physicality and running the football. It's their identity. Of course, they're going to take pride in a rushing record. They want to be the most physical, disliked team in football. And if you don't want them to break the record on that final play, guess what you can do? You can blitz. That's what you can do. Except they got Lamar Jackson. And you don't want to get cute. Because if he faked the football like he's going to run it, and he pulls it back, and all of a sudden Andrews or somebody running butt naked down the middle of the field, and they score a touchdown instead of get the rushing record, then you really be mad. This is just reserved, Jacoby, for the losing team. It seems like the last 10 or 15 years, we've been worried about coddling to the losing team's feelings and all of these unwritten rules. If you don't like it, stop it.
It is that simple. I mean, I don't think that there's any legitimate beef here. They ran for the record. They wanted the record. They got the record. To say player safety, to claim player safety as secondary, that part to me didn't really make any sense because that was an extremely safe play. And if you watch it closely, Lamar Jackson didn't even try to get that far. Like, he slid at the end of it. He could have even gotten farther or maybe even gone out of bounds. But congratulations to the Ravens and Lamar Jackson for there.
You're live from Pier 17, New York City, and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, who is joining us right now in the program?
We have a legend in the rap game joining us today. This man has been spitting historic bars for decades and decades. As a matter of fact, I ain't heard a punchline, an ad-lib, or a verse that I ain't like. AZ, please welcome to Jalen and Jacoby.
Thank you for having me.
You've got a new project out, Do or Die to the Wheel. What can fans expect from that?
Oh man, those that been following me, they can expect the classic AZ, and for those that's just knowing AZ, pure lyricism.
Now, you've been a part of some of the greatest projects in the history of rap music, including Illmatic. So take me back to a time where the legend Nasir Jones is putting together a historic album, and he could ask anybody in the world to do a verse on this album. You were the only feature on that album. Take me back to that time period, please.
Oh man, I mean, well, him just being signed and he trying to finish the album up, you know, it happened organically. I had no expectations, just in the studio. The music was on, and I started playing with my lyrics in my corner somewhere. He heard it. He was like, yo, I like that. Yo, put that on that track. And I'm thinking he playing because it's like, you know, he was critically acclaimed at the time with Halftime out and everybody anticipating the album. I was like, come on, man. He's like, nah, go on there. I did it. And everybody in the studio was like, wow, yo, that's it. I was like, all right, y'all still playing. And after that, he laid his verse and kept it, you know, because there was no expectations. We just did it. Just in the studio, just doing what we do all the time.
AZ, I'm a little disappointed in something. So when people look back at the history of hip hop, and I'm showing my age here, The Firm was a dope album.
The best.
Like, The Firm is a classic album. Youngsters, I'm asking you to download it right now. The Firm with Nas, Foxy, Dr. Dre, AZ is a classic album. So
that's real.
The formation of that project, and Nature too. Nature was a part of that. So talk to me about that project in particular.
Wow, that particular project, it came together and it had so many cooks involved because everybody was individually successful at the time. So it was easy and hard, you know, because everybody came with egos to an extent and you know, they had their stats. But once we all got in the studio and got creative, it was a beautiful thing. That was the first time I think I actually met Dr. Dre, which was cool. And we did what we had to do. That's a classic, like you said. It's definitely a classic, the Firm album.
What about this wild moment? When we're sitting around talking about classic albums this year, we're talking about Kanye, we're talking about Drake, we're talking about West Side Gun, we're talking about Do or Die 2, The Will.
Wow.
What is it
Wow.
like to be a part of that conversation so many years later?
Man, I'm lost for words. Honestly, I was just basically in my mind trying to. They say just finish your breakfast. I was just like, let me finish my breakfast. So to get the response and the love that I'm getting, it means a lot to me. So I was gonna quit after this here, but I'm gonna keep going now.
Yeah, we need you to keep going.
more.
As
Yeah.
a matter of fact, you know who else keeps going? Your brother.
Oh,
King's
yeah.
Disease.
Oh, yes, yes.
Nasir Jones.
Yes.
Are we going to
Yeah.
get more collaborations from you guys? And what is it like for you understanding that basically y'all did the Illmatic album From the Mud?
Wow.
Now he's being critically acclaimed for his work now.
Yeah.
After all of these years.
Yeah, well, he definitely deserves it. Like, he's definitely top 5 of the game, the most spoke about, critically acclaimed. And he motivated me actually to really like get this album done and out the way. As far as collabos, I'm sure we're gonna do something else. I'm hoping that we even put the firm back together, honestly, because it just makes sense. It really makes sense. You know, that's
Did
what
you
that's
just
what
say
life
put
is
the firm
about.
back together? Did you just say put the firm back together?
Oh, yes, we need
Yes.
that. Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Wow.
Okay,
Yes.
Hit Boy, get to work.
AZ, thank you so much for joining us. You are literally one of the best rappers to ever
Bars.
speak
He got
into a microphone.
bars.
Absolute
Thank you,
bars.
man.
One of the legends of the game, one of the best rappers I've ever heard in my life. Thank you so much for joining us on Jalen and Jacoby.
Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
I know it feels like summer just ended, but welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen, we are wrapped up in the NFL season, so much so, I don't know if you noticed, but the NBA has started, and last night we had some big dunks in the preseason. Jalen, check out these clips from the preseason action.
It's great to see the NBA getting back to its normal calendar and schedule. Really happy that we were able to crown 2 champions in 10 months. One in the bubble, the Los Angeles Lakers. One, Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Bucks, who stayed committed to Milwaukee. But Anthony Edwards just did B.I. nasty. I see you, big cat, down there flexing. I like this dunking on the way up.
There were some
The
great
NBA.
dunks. It's almost like they should
Gonna be really
save
exciting
it. I
this
didn't
year.
expect to see all that in the preseason. I'm so excited about this season. We'll have a lot of chance to discuss that. But one thing I do want to discuss is this Lakers team. We're going to be talking about the Lakers all year. And don't forget, Dwight Howard is on this Lakers team. And in their first preseason game against the Brooklyn Nets, a marquee matchup, Dwight Howard didn't just foul out. He fouled out, got a flagrant, and a tech, like all in the span of 5 minutes. What do you think about Dwight's impact in this early preseason game?
That's pretty much his role, to give 6 fouls. And sometimes it's gonna be to also catch lobs. It's never gonna be to post up. But in all honesty, to just be a vet, to be a physical presence, and to earn his check and use his size. But come on, dog. You can't be fouling out and getting a tech and doing that. Like, come on.
All at the same time.
All
at the same
preseason.
time.
He just getting warmed up. Big fella just getting warmed up.
Do you think he will finish games at the center spot for Los Angeles Lakers?
No. He's not gonna be able to do it. No. That would be Anthony Davis, sir. Definitely that would be Anthony Davis. And that's one of the reasons why since Russ isn't a knockdown shooter, you can't have him and Dwight in games late. It just suppresses the floor for LeBron and AD to be able to operate. And so I don't anticipate he's going to finish games regardless of the lineups. But during regular season, when AD or players may be in or out of the lineup, there will be times that it happens, but I don't anticipate it's gonna happen in a huge playoff game or anything like that.
In this preseason game, you see all of those future Hall of Famers in street clothes, LeBron and Russ and Carmelo and KD and James Harden. Do you expect to see them in street clothes during the regular season as well?
Rondo, not James Harden. And the thing is, the Lakers, to me, have the best collection. The Lakers have the best team in basketball. If they're healthy, they're going to win a championship, in my opinion. That doesn't mean they're going to have the #1 seed, though. That's why getting off to a great start, taking advantage of a favorable schedule with a couple of light opponents is something that they must do early. But ultimately, once the playoffs come, I don't see a team in the Western Conference even pushing them to 7 games, let alone beating them.
Jalen, Classic rivalry tonight, one-game wild card matchup between the Red Sox and the Yankees. Who do you have winning?
I got the Yankees. I wanted to say the Red Sox because I know you're a Die Easy fan, but I'm going to go with my guy Aaron Judge and the
We'll
Yankees.
be back tomorrow, 4 o'clock, ESPN.